Good afternoon, everyone. This is Atmospheric Alex here, and welcome back to another weather forecast discussion on this historic winter storm that is going to be impacting a large chunk of the central and the eastern United States. We're going to be skipping over the analysis data in today's video because we have way too much stuff to go over. We're talking about our winter storm severity index here around a major impact for portions of Oklahoma and Arkansas, and then all other areas in the moderate shaded area for today. As we head into tomorrow, things start to look a lot more significant. We see this red area expand a lot larger. Look at that. We have one up here, we have one down here, and then we also have our extreme impact. This is our 5 out of 5 on the impact scale in some of those other areas there, and that's where we could be expecting very significant catastrophic icing. Onwards into day 3, it looks just about the same, but now we're talking about major impacts across the New England area in terms of a lot of snowfall. Snow totals will likely be over an inch in some areas. And we do have some key messages to kind of go over with this storm. It's a high impact and far-reaching winter storm, and we know this. Widespread heavy snow and sleet that will be occurring. Catastrophic ice accumulation. I think it is our best interest if I read through this entire paragraph here. Widespread freezing rain is expected south of the primary snow axis, affecting parts of the southern plains, the lower Mississippi Valley, Tennessee Valley, the southeast, and mid-Atlantic. Long-duration power outages, extensive tree damage, and extremely dangerous or impassable travel conditions are likely. Very important. Catastrophic impacts are expected. So we're not talking about possible or likely. We're expecting catastrophic impacts now. So, no fear-mongering here. This is words from the National Weather Service. Freezing rain could exceed a half an inch in some areas, with over 1 inch totals possible in parts of northern Louisiana, central northern Mississippi, southern Tennessee, and the southern Appalachians. Very, very serious. And in wake of the storm, communities from the southern plains to the northeast will contend with bitterly cold temperatures, hampering cleanup processes there, effectively prolonging infrastructure impacts and hazardous travel through at least early next week. Preparations should be completed immediately and forecasts closely monitored for updates. That is your key messages there. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at our latest HRRR model here. You can see we're going to have some freezing rain in northern Texas, kind of transitioning to sleet. And then look at all of this snow. That is going to be moving into Oklahoma here later on this evening into tonight. We are talking about a heavy swath of snow, even through Oklahoma City possibly. And this then travels across portions of Arkansas. We're talking maybe some strong thunderstorms down here. Came raw a severe thunderstorm down there near Houston, Texas, which is very important because there is a big meteorology conference ongoing down here. The American Meteorological Society is having a conference in that area. So we are expecting maybe some thunderstorms to be moving on through. Very interesting, right? Freezing rain begins to etch southward through portions of Texas. Here you can see it kind of moving like that. And then as we head into tomorrow morning, snow overspreads the entire area, severe weather offshore. And then look at this. We have wave number 2 of moisture that is going to be moving off towards Oklahoma and Texas. And my, oh my, we are talking about a very heavy, prolonged band of snow through Texas, most of Oklahoma there, and a very high impact, long-lasting ice storm further south. Look at all this icing through here. This is very, very serious, folks. Down through this area, we could be talking about a hot zone of well over an inch of ice in some areas. You need to really closely monitor the forecast, like we've been saying. Some of that ice even etching into Houston. Let's kind of hope not. And then our snow continuing. It's still snowing in Oklahoma by Sunday afternoon. And that's as far out as the model goes. Heading into our eastern section here, you can see we start as all snow here in majority of west and middle Tennessee. Look at even Martin, Tennessee getting on some heavy snow as we head into tomorrow afternoon into tomorrow evening. But then your freezing rain threat really begins here. Look at this large swath of moderate to heavy icing across these areas, including East Tennessee. You are going to start off as a ton of freezing rain, I do believe, and slowly but surely your warm nose will start to impact and will lower your freezing rain amounts. Look at across your Ohio Valley regions here. Definitely going to be snowing like crazy. It has shifted south over the past few runs. We're not seeing nearly as much snow up into the Indianapolis area anymore. I know there's some people there who have really been hyping up the system. I really don't know if that's such a good idea. Systems tend to trend more suppressed at the last second. Again, that's something to note. And we're talking about thunderstorms down here in Alabama. And some more icing concerns. I mean, it's going to be icing for a long time. If we rewind the clock and go through, look at all of that icing right down here through this corridor. That is going to be very serious to some extent. And then your cold air damming out here is also going to be very significant. We're going to have to see how far to the south this CAD pushes, and it will depend on our ice accumulations. Now we're going to show you all the 12Z RRFS model. I'm not showing you the 18Z because it is completely wrong. It actually shows our system a lot further north, and that is not going to happen. I don't believe it. But you can see lots of snow moving through into Virginia, portions of Maryland, Pennsylvania. Look at New York City. New York City getting hammered with very heavy snow rates there. We could even see an isolated portion of 4-inch per hour rates. This is going to be some very heavy snow. This moves on through. Look at Boston here. Snow, snow, and more snow for a very long period of time. Maybe some mixing, but we'll see. Maybe some snow on the back end. It is going to be pounding down snow in some of those areas, so you gotta stay very weather aware. And a really, really good graphic here from the National Weather Service, I didn't show you this yesterday and I should have, is your winter storm planning timeline here. Very, very important. So a few days out, you should have emergency supplies from your home and car. Check your smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. That's actually very important. If you're out of power or something like that, you need to absolutely make sure that no carbon monoxide leaks inside your home. That would be very bad. And replenish fuel for your car and heating sources a day before. So this is basically where we are right now. You need to start adjusting plans, have multiple ways to receive warnings, and bring pets indoors, ensure they have water. Please remember that you have pets in the first place. If you don't, you probably shouldn't have them in the first place, but please bring them inside. And here, really during the event, you should be checking on neighbors and family, properly ventilate emergency heat sources, keep generators 20 feet from your home. Again, very, very important because you do not want these things going off at any point. And if they do, you're going to be in a lot of trouble, folks. And take it easy when shoveling. Okay, now for the National Weather Service forecast. I promise I'll try and go through this faster than yesterday, but we're talking about it here. Look at all this snow. I mean, my goodness, we're talking quite a lot of snow here across portions of southern Texas. That is going to be impacting 4 to 6 inches for Lubbock. I can't remember the last time you saw that much snow. Look it up here in portions of Kansas. We're talking about a lot of snow. 6 to 10 for Emporia, 6 to 10 for Wichita there. Lots of snow. Has been trending a little further south in recent runs, though. Look at Oklahoma City, 9 to 15 inches of snow. Holy smokes, you can see over a foot of snow there. 10 to 15 inches in Tulsa, 8 to 14 in Coffeyville. Yeah, we're talking about a ton of snow in Oklahoma, and this was originally up here, and it has shifted quite a bit further south over the past few model runs, especially the HRRR. Your high end here, maybe we could break 18 inches in your OKC, but that's not a forecast. Your icing has significantly decreased, still about 1/10 of an inch for Ardmore. As we move further south, we're talking about 1 to 2 inches of snow in Abilene, Texas there. Near trace to an inch near Menard and San Angelo. We'll have to wait and see. And you can see around 3/10 to 4/10 of an inch of ice. So significant icing issues are going to be likely down there. Look at this over near Dallas-Fort Worth. Around an inch of snow is going to be possible. So that's some pretty good news if you want snow. But we'll take a look at this. We're talking about 2/10 to 3/10 of an inch of ice. Isolated locations up to a 1/2 inch to even 7/10 of an inch all the way over here on your screen. That is going to be very serious. But yeah, even 1/4 of an inch of ice, you can't drive on that. That could also cause power outages as well and weigh trees down. We could be talking about some tree limbs kind of breaking and snapping under those conditions. If we see our 10% chance really unfold here, though, we're talking nearly an inch of ice for Longview, Texas. Again, that is going to be very significant if that unfolds. Other areas, too, almost a half an inch for Dallas. We better hope this scenario does not unfold. Further south, around 3/10 of an inch for Kerrville there, and other areas as well. A tenth of an inch even down to San Antonio. And that's something we're really going to have to watch for. And we're talking here for Missouri, 5 to 9 for Columbia, 6 to 10 for Jefferson City, 7 to 11 for St. Louis. Yeah, you are going to be getting quite a bit more snow again. 9 to 13 for Springfield, 9 to 14 for Joplin. Man, oh man, somebody could definitely be in the jackpot zone for maybe upwards of 12 to 18 inches, but that's not a forecast. Now in Arkansas, 6 to 10 inches for Fort Smith, 4 to 8 for Russellville, 7 to 10 for Mountain View, 3 to 7 for Jonesboro there, 1 to 4 for Little Rock and Hot Springs. I wouldn't be shocked if this shifts off to the south even more in next upcoming runs. We're talking about 6/10 of an inch of ice in Monticello there, 3/10 of an inch in Pine Bluff, maybe upwards of a 1/4 inch of ice in Memphis. We're going to have to watch for that. That could be pretty serious. But your 10% chance here, holy cow. Look at that, over 3/4 of an inch of ice in Pine Bluff, 1.3 in Monticello possibly. Wow. 1.15 in El Dorado, 1.11 in Texarkana. This is getting out of control, folks. Really hope these high-end values don't verify. If they do, you're going to have trees coming down, power lines snapping, power poles snapping, to say the least. You're even going to have some potentially caved-in roofs as well, and some of your weaker structures. Damage to infrastructure would occur in those conditions. And then, of course, further off to the south, we could see some snow around Natchitoches, Natchez, Louisiana. But I think it's going to be more of your freezing rain risk there. I think I accidentally chose the wrong area. I apologize for this. But, like Alexandria there, around a half an inch of ice is possible. As we move up to the north here, yes, 8 to 11 inches for Indianapolis. This is probably going to shift south. If it doesn't, I'd be a bit surprised. 8 to 12 for Evansville. You're probably going to be in the crush zone, as well as Louisville for 9 to 13 inches. As you can see, Chicago 2 to 5 inches. Could see some lake effect snow on the backside of your system here. All other areas here, definitely going to be talking about a hefty dumping of snow. Looking at your high end, though, 14 for Indianapolis. Could we see it? We'll have to wait and see. 9 inches for Chicago, 14 for Evansville. We're just going to have to wait and see what our high-end snow totals can do, if they do anything. Across Kentucky, we're talking about 4 to 6 inches of snow for Bowling Green. We're talking 3 to 8 inches for Union City, and possibly even up to a maximum of 8 for Martin as well. I'm watching that very closely. We have the chance for a very, 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 very sharp cutoff line to form right within here between heavy sleet and heavy snow. If that pushes just a little bit further south and, say, winds up right about here, Martin, all right, your high-end totals could go from 8 inches to 12 inches pretty quickly, so we're just really watching out for that, and I'm going to keep you all updated for sure. You can see 4 to 6 inches for Bowling Green, 4 to 7 for Hopkinsville, 1 to 3 for Nashville down there. We'll actually get to that more in a minute. Icing, very big concern across southern Kentucky, up to a half an inch is possible in some areas. Oh, here's a better look. Fulton around 3 to 8 inches. I say 6, but more closer to 8 because that's what some of the other NWS offices were saying. 2 to 6 for Dyersburg there. 1 to 4 for Waverly, Tennessee. 1 to 3 for Memphis, Tennessee there. And then we'll progress here. Your high-end amounts, again, like I said before, could we see that sharp cutoff line push just a little further off to the southeast? We will only have to wait and see. Icing, major concern. 1.3 inches is forecasted for Tupelo, Mississippi. That is, my friends, that is very serious. I mean, that right there is a generational event for you all. You need to prepare as if it's going to be. Corinth, around 1.25 inches of ice. Wow. This is not your 1 in 10 chance. This is the official official National Weather Service forecast, folks. An inch for Oxford, around an inch and a tenth for Greenwood. Very, very serious. Parsons, around 3/4 of an inch. Trees are coming down. We're talking about infrastructure damage, long-lasting power outages, possibly up to 2 weeks straight for low priority zones. And we're also even going to be talking about an absolute ice rink out there on your roads. Please do not go out and about anywhere. It's going to be serious. And also, once your cold air sets in after the system, oh my gosh, you're going to be out of heating. You need to stock up on as many blankets as possible in these areas, because your homes are going to drop possibly into the 30s because of power outages and potentially temperatures in the single digits, maybe even a couple negatives in there too. I'm going to show you at the end of the video. You're not going to like it. We're talking around 1/10 of an inch of ice for Dyersburg, maybe a 1/10 of an inch for Fulton and Martin, but we're going to wait and see. 2/10 for Clarksville there. Just catastrophic, generational ice totals down there, unfortunately. Your 1 in 10 chance, an inch and a half, maybe even more for Tupelo. If that verifies, good gracious. Around 3/4 of an inch for Memphis, possibly an inch for Nashville. I don't think that's going to verify, but we'll wait and see. That's your 1 in 10 chance, by the way. Some of your snow further off to the south, yeah, you're really not going to see much. But for your icing, talking about an inch for Yazoo City there. We're talking about 9/10 of an inch for Vicksburg being possible, 8/10 of an inch for Greensville, around 3/4 of an inch for Monroe, and 8/10, almost 9/10 of an inch for Jonesboro. Very, very significant, life-threatening, catastrophic icing could occur here. 7/10 of an inch for Natchitoches. You all have not seen an event like this in over a decade, if not longer. Like I said, generational possibly. 1 in 10 chance, yeah, I don't have to explain it. This is absolutely outrageous, and I absolutely pray to God this does not verify for those areas. And here's Middle Tennessee, 1 to 3 inches for Nashville, Tennessee. Potentially, that's very uncertain. 1 to 3 for Cookeville possibly, and other surrounding locations. And for icing, I'm going to have to zoom the graphic in. Nashville does it weirdly. Maybe a 1/2 inch of ice for Nashville. We're at 1/2 inch for Columbia there, possibly. And again, anything in your red colors is 1/4 to a 1/2 inch. That's pretty significant. Ohio snow here, 9 to 12 inches for Columbus, 10 to 12 for Zanesville, 8 to 11 maybe for Cleveland. It might be a little too far north, but we'll have to wait and see. 10 to 12 for portions of Cincinnati. Then going across to East Tennessee we go. Talking about a dusting of snow for some areas. I really do think we're going to have some valley transport wind like this, and that is going to cause things to have significantly less snow totals, probably right within this area here. You're also going to have mountain wave winds as well, kind of coming off the Smokies like this in surrounding areas. We could see reduced totals probably right along your mountain areas right here, but only time will tell. This is especially prevalent with your ice totals. This is actually a really cool map, folks, because not only can you see your valley transport winds like up in these areas here that you see, but you also see your downsloping winds, your warming winds, say right here, and then all right through here is all a downsloping. You have your winds going up and over the mountains, warming with friction, and that's going to cause less icing for some areas like Gatlinburg. So very fascinating, very cool map indeed. If this downsloping and this valley transport isn't as intense, though, high-end totals could be very serious, so you need to prepare, even if you're in your valley locations. HRRR has been trending colder. You could easily see 1/4 of an inch of ice in Sevierville, Gatlinburg, those areas. Yeah, it looks a little bit dangerous out there. All right, down here for portions of Atlanta, 3/10 of an inch of ice. Your cold air damming, again, your CAD setting up right within here. All of your cold air behind your Appalachian Mountains, funneling down like that. Really going to increase totals. 1 in 10 chance here, around 1/5 of an inch, or I should say a 1/2 an inch. I'm losing my mind today. And then we're talking about maybe an inch in some areas. I really hope not. My gosh. And then as we head back up north into Pennsylvania, just know, whole entire image on your screen could see a foot of snow. That's not a joke, folks. High end could see isolated locations nearing 20 inches. That's crazy, right? All this through here, again, a lot of places could see upwards of 8 to 12 inches of snow out of this, and high end could be a foot. That is a lot of snow. And then you could see some icing is also possible as well through portions of West Virginia. Summersville, kind of ironic, right? It's funny, Summersville, maybe we should rename that place to Wintersville, because it's gonna feel like winter out there, right? With all your icing. 4/10 of an inch of ice, around 5/10 of an inch, around a half an inch for Beckley there. Yeah, I mean, what a name, right? But for snowshoe, we have a half an inch of ice. Shouldn't we be talking about more snow than ice and snowshoe? Oh my gosh, I want a refund. Everyone in that town, if you want a refund, I can't blame you, honestly. And you could see maybe a half an inch of ice in some isolated locations. And then again down here, I mean, it's just, there's going to be so much snow. I mean, that snow is your main headline down there. As we head further off to the east, Richmond, Virginia, nearly 6/10 of an inch of ice. Wow. Petersburg, around 7/10 of an inch. Yeah, it's getting up into crippling territory once again, folks. That's not good. High-end totals, possibly an inch. Please, again, I pray this doesn't happen. That would cause very big infrastructure problems. And then down here, half an inch of icing for a pretty large area. I'm going off the screen. Yeah, I'm getting tired, aren't I? You can see all that icing. Including Raleigh, North Carolina, too, could see quite a lot of ice. This is just a bad situation, folks. Look at that, an inch of ice being possible. Your 1 in 10 chance. This would be the worst ice storm you've seen since 2014, if not even before that. Now, slipping further off to the south here, 6/10 of an inch of ice for some areas like Spartanburg. That, again, don't mess with stuff like that. Wow. Oh my gosh. And then your 1 in 10 chance. I swear these have gone up a little bit. Wow. 1.11 for Greenville, possibly. Again, infrastructure issues. Trees are going to be coming down. Roads are going to be an ice rink. Grass is going to be an ice rink. I mean, my goodness. I mean, just everything. Problems across the board. Not fun. Further off to South and South Carolina, we're talking about some ice. Notice how I'm not showing any snow maps. Y'all don't get snow over here anyway, so what's the point? I'm half joking about that. You can see it dusting in some areas. Isolated locations, especially in North Carolina. Again, your 1 in 10 chance. I'm trying to get through this a little faster. New York up here. Look at that. Lots of snowfall there. Going in the reverse order yet again. My goodness. You can see upwards of a foot. New York City, 8 to 12 inches. Wow. Yeah, this is not a joke. You actually could see a big snowstorm this go around for those areas. Boston, about a foot of snow. That entire jurisdiction area. And then high-end totals possibly nearing 17 inches. Snow everywhere. Again, it's going to be very snowy out there. Around a foot for Washington, D.C. being possible, but not likely. I would have to say that your warm nose can maybe infiltrate this area a bit and maybe deliver more sleet, unfortunately. So might have to cut your snow totals down a bit in Washington, D.C. and surrounding areas. Icing, we could definitely be talking about some of it across here. That is looking quite significant. Now, you're going to be talking about extreme cold by the end of this time frame. I'm going to zoom into this map here. You can see Bismarck, North Dakota, around that area, negative 60-degree wind chills. That's very exceptional. Negative 30-degree wind chills for Chicago. Cannot remember the last time you saw temperatures that cold. Going down through the plains, maybe negative 20 degrees. West Tennessee down to negative 10-degree wind chills. This is looking very serious, folks. You can see the headlines all over here. You can read that. And this is going to be a long-lasting cold event, potentially lasting into early February. Again, I wish I had more time to go over this, but the snow and the ice, it takes a lot of time out of the video, folks. That being said, hope you all found this video informative and life-saving. If you did, please smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, share this with friends, family, and social media, and help them get prepared with this storm. You know, I'd recommend buying some non-perishable food items, some snow boots if you possibly can, tons and tons of blankets. Again, I cannot emphasize, we have an all-out blanket emergency that is going to be in place here, issued by me personally, and a lot of other people as well, as you could be seeing a loss of heating in your homes due to power outages. Areas that will get an inch of ice is going to potentially see temperatures dropping near freezing inside your house. So, wow, you need to be very cautious. And maybe you don't need non-perishable food because the freezer will be outside waiting for you. Could even be in your house. My gosh, it's going to be so cold. And you all have a wonderful night, everyone. Stay exceptionally, extraordinarily weather aware. And I'll see you back here again soon.